One of the most common questions that I get asked a lot by people around me, my friends, family, they always ask me, so Moyo, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage to balance work, school, side hustle, and just life generally? How do you manage to balance all of these things? And it's always hard for me to answer that question off the bat because I don't always have an answer prepared. But I've gone back to think about it, to actually like introspect on what are the things that I have done over the years that's kind of aided me in um, being able to multitask, so to say. Note that I am not in any way glamorizing being busy all the time. To be honest, I wish I didn't have to do this much. Maybe sometimes I find myself in these situations because I put myself in there, but left to me, I just want to be on an island somewhere far, far away, sipping cocktails and soaking up the sun. And money is still entering my account somehow. But life does not work that way, unfortunately. So you still have to do a few things, to keep the ball rolling and to maintain the lifestyle that you want. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some tips, things that I've learned, things that I've heard from other people, things that have actually been helpful for me personally to balance life generally. This is the first time you're joining me on my channel. It is so good to have you. Welcome. I talk about different things from fashion and style to personal development and just general day-to-day life. So now let's get to today's video. I'm going to talk about when it comes to balancing multiple passions and multiple things that you're doing is to decide what's important to you. I feel like a lot of times we don't really think about what's truly important to us. Sometimes we think about what we think should be important to us, but not what's really important to us. So I would say take time to decide what's important to me at this point in my life, because that would help a great deal with discipline as well as just prioritization, because you make time for something that's important to you, right? So you need to identify what's important to you, why it's important to you can be helpful as well, so you can kind of get your head set on these are the most important things in my life and these are the things that I'm dedicating my time to at this point in time. So decide, it's up to you what's important to you, your priorities, your values. Put all of those things together, write them down if you can, and just make sure that you have a better understanding of those things yourself without the influence of people around you or any other external influence. Just decide what's important to you and stick to those things. If you're like me, I have a bunch of different things that I'm interested in, and I just dabble in so many different things. I don't think not everything is necessary for me to do. I mean, of course, I have to work my day job that helps me earn my livelihood. And then I started my master's in interdisciplinary engineering, so I'm doing that part-time while I work full-time. And then I'm also a personal stylist, so I help women build and improve their personal style. And then I'm a creative, so I enjoy content creation, so on Instagram, YouTube, and so on. I also have a blog that I write on. I also have other things that I do, like I go dancing, I love traveling. Friendships are really important to me, so spending time with my friends and loved ones is also like one of the things that I consider to be of great value to me. So those are things that I invest my time in. So now, moving on to how do you balance all of these different things, especially if you're someone that you're just interested in a lot of different things. I mean, it's not a bad thing. You just have to be realistic and honest with yourself how much you can dedicate to each of those things that you are involved in. So the first thing I would say is find the intersection between all of these different things. Like for example, I took a class this semester that required me to provide a project that I was going to work on with a team of people. So I decided to use a project from my day job, from my actual work, something that I would have to do anyways. I decided to incorporate that into my class project. So there was an intersection there. So that way I'm able to like bring, school into work and work into school a little bit. It helps because it cuts off some of the extra work from one of those things, right? And it could just be that like maybe as a content creator you have an opportunity to do that in your actual work. It brings excitement into all of the different things you're doing when you start to think of how do all these things intersect, and how do you bring yourself into all of those things that you're doing. Don't try to force it. You're not always going to find an intersection, but if it's possible, think about it and see how you can bring all those things together. Next thing I'm going to talk about is time. Time is always much more valuable than money. Trust me, your time is very important. So watch what you spend your time on and who you give your time to, what you give your time to. It's very important for you to realize that time, you can make your money back. You can make your money back tenfold, but your time will never ever be gotten back. You're never going to get your time back. So just try to think about the things that you're involved in what way can you save time. So for example, I realized that going grocery shopping takes a lot of time for me. Like driving to the grocery store, finding a parking spot, getting down, walking around the store, finding what I need, standing in line to check out, and driving back home, so just all of the logistics involved in getting my groceries. I thought it was too much time that I could have spent on something more valuable than, of course grocery shopping is important. It's I would say for me it's a non-value added work that needs to be done. It's important, but it's not really adding value to the actual things that I'm doing. But I need food to be able to do those things. So in a way, they're interconnected. So I would say that in that situation, I started looking for a way to cut that time shorter, and shopping online, grocery pickup was the answer for me. I would put in everything I needed in my cart ahead of time, and then I would just go pick it up. Like literally, I don't even have to get out of my car. They just come to my car, put it in my trunk, and I'm ready to go. So I was able to cut grocery shopping by like half, and that time that I have left, I can use it to do something else. And then just try to think of things in your life that you can try to save time on. Even if it means like maybe getting someone to help you clean, of course if you have the resources to do that. Getting someone to help you clean, the grocery shopping example that I gave. And this just leads me to my next point of outsource. Whatever you can outsource it. Like if you're going to make $100 doing something, if you're able to outsource $20 worth of work and save time on that, honestly, $80 is enough for you, basically. So what I mean is that don't think about losing $20 that you're paying someone to do a part of the work for you. Think about gaining more time for something else, for you to be able to do something else. So that's the way I say it. I outsource things, and there's times that I feel like there are people that are better at some of the things that I'm trying to do, and if I can just give them the opportunity to do that while I focus on other things that I can't outsource. Like I can't outsource my degree, I can't outsource my job, my actual day job. So every other thing around that can actually be outsourced, I would look for ways to outsource it. I'm always looking for ways to make my life easier and better. So see it as an investment. Anytime you get an opportunity to save time by maybe getting a self-improvement stuff, like it's, for me, it's something as simple as getting a Roomba, like a robot cleaner. That saves me time, because I don't want to spend time vacuuming when the robot cleaner could be vacuuming and I'm doing other things. So that's me saving time. So just think about ways that you can save time, and in the long run it actually saves you money, because when you have the time to focus on the things that would bring value, or if whatever value means to you, value is translated into money, or if it's translated into quality, providing quality or service or something, whatever that looks like to you. When you have the time to do that, you're able to dedicate time into that, whatever that thing is. So if you're able to outsource them, and it just helps you be more sane in the long run. Because honestly, for me, sanity is one of the biggest things that you need to protect when you have a lot going on for you, when you're doing a lot of things, basically. Because it's very easy to get burnout is something that I'm constantly struggling with, and I still struggle with. You just find that there are times that you just can't even do any of these things because you're super burnt out. You can't proceed with any of them, and that's even much more worse. So you need to constantly protect your energy, protect your strength, protect your mental health. That's the biggest thing. My drift, you get it? Okay. So the next thing I would say is that write things down. Write every single thing down. Like, this, honestly, I would say has been the biggest lifesaver. Like, I have a planner now because I actually prefer hard copy things. Like, I want to see those things written down. I use my phone, to the notes app. Oof, great. That has the best app on my phone. But I also got this planner just so it's just something about ticking stuff off an actual book or actual planner. So get a planner if you need to, but write every single thing down, things that you need to get done, things that you have done, because it gives you it helps your brain see that you're actually making progress, no matter how little it is. You get? So being able to, like, validate your hard work is important because it encourages you. It gives you that that dopamine of just, the reward thing with dopamine, when you get a reward, and it just helps you feel good, right? So I would say that write things down, check things off your list, write your achievements, your accomplishment, things you accomplished that day, that week, that month. Write it down and celebrate your wins, because it's very important. So it keeps your mind in that place of you've done a lot. Because sometimes we think about the things that we need to get done, and you constantly think about those things. Eventually you get overwhelmed, right? But if you set your eyes away for a minute from those things to the things that you've actually achieved, you see that you've achieved a whole lot of things that you should be proud of. So that kind of gives you that encouragement to keep going. That it's in bits and pieces that you conquer your goals, not all at once. You can't conquer everything all at once. So make sure that you keep that mindset as you do things gradually. So this is a lesson that I am still learning, and I'm going to continue to hammer into my head, that aim for value, not perfection. Like, basically, sometimes we're trying to be perfect at doing something, when in reality, perfection is a myth. Like, there's always going to be something that you're trying to fix, something you're trying to outdo yourself on and be better on. I mean, I feel like there's a level you can get to that you're actually providing value, but it's not perfection. So for example, in one of my classes this semester, I always aim for an A in my classes, right? And an A is a 93 out of 100. But sometimes I find myself wanting to complete every single homework, every single checklist, check every single thing, which is not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing because they're there for you to actually do. But there are some situations where I actually have other things that I need to attend to. Maybe work is super busy that week and I'm having to work extra hours. If I can get a 93 on the dot as opposed to getting a 98, and I have to make trade-offs, I would take the trade-offs for the sake of this other thing that's equally or even more important than getting 98. So what I'm getting at is, you don't have to do overdo. Don't overdo yourself. Don't try to, like, be perfect at every single thing. there's this quote that goes that you can have it all but not at once. Basically, it's just really difficult to be perfect at a bunch of things at the same time. It's really hard. So pick your battles, choose your battles. What is it really worth it, like spending another 2 hours on this homework to get 100% when you know for sure that what you have right now will give you a 97%? Be okay with the 97% and move on to other things, because the 1 hour you can spend on something else. You can spend 1 hour editing videos for your content, or reading a book or cooking. One thing that I want to mention is practice your no. Practice how to say no to things, saying no to others, saying no to yourself. It's very important. It's going to come in handy when you have a lot going on. And what I mean by this is saying no to things that they in that moment don't align with what's important to you, so don't align with your values, or simply don't align with your timetable for that moment, your schedule for that moment. Because I know for me, I always struggle with saying no to things, like especially when it's something that I feel like is a valuable thing to do or valuable thing to have. But because of me being honest with myself and where I'm at, I'm gonna have to say no. Learn to say no. It takes practice. It takes practice saying no to people, especially people that you love, or especially to things that you know that they're great things. You would even love to be a part of those things, but you know you just don't have the time. So for me, I have to say no to social gatherings sometimes. I have to say no to traveling sometimes, because I know that I would not be able to do multiple, or I would not be able to add that on to all the things that I have going on right now. Last thing that I want to share, and this is very, very important, is please listen to your body. This took me a while to learn. I just sometimes I feel like I'm a robot and I just keep going and going and going and not take a pause, and then I get to a point where I basically crash. Like I'm burnt out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, listen to your body, pay attention to your body. Like, one of the things that I do is, like, Saturday mornings, I typically just stay in bed for as long as I want to. Whatever I need to do, I'm gonna make it there. If it means I'm gonna have to stay up late on Saturday to get things done, fine. But Friday nights, I'm typically watching TV on my couch and sipping wine or whatever, and I sleep off on the couch, or I end up going to my room. And then the same thing Saturday morning, I just chill on my bed before I wake up to do things. I know different people have different thoughts on getting up super early at 5 a.m. and doing this and knocking a bunch of, those are great advice, but I do what works for me. For the sake of my mental health, for the sake of my sanity, I do what works for me. So if I feel like my body is telling me to chill, honestly, I chill. I literally just stop and chill. Like, I mean, of course, you're not just gonna abandon all of your responsibilities, but like, there's a pace that you go, that you know yourself that you need to take a step back and just chill. So I listen to my body a lot, just saying that, Moyo, you're getting close to getting burnt out, and you need to take a step back. If you need to do something that brings you joy, something that makes you feel relaxed, do that thing, and just take your mind off whatever it is you have on your plate in that particular moment, and just take time off. I'm sure you've heard this a lot of times, that rest is part of work. Like, rest is actually an important part of work. Like, Brené Brown says this a lot. Brené Brown is one of my favorite people, but actually, she talks about work, rest, and just the feeling of shame when we're resting. A lot of times we have shame associated with rest, because we feel like we should be doing something, which is just the biggest scam. Like, no, rest is just as productive as work, because you need to rest, you need to refuel to be able to work. You're not a robot. You can't keep going and going and going. So take time, dedicate a time during the week that you actually do nothing. It's okay to just be on your phone. It's okay to take a book and read. It's okay to take a walk. Like, sis, bro, drop everything. Don't worry, the world is not going to stop spinning just because you're taking a few minutes or a few hours or a few whatever or a whole day off. Like, the world is not going to stop spinning. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's always better to come back refreshed. Give your best self every time to things that you're doing, and your best self only comes out of rest. Honestly, you need to rest your head, rest your physical self, rest your body, rest your mind, rest every single thing, and love on yourself. So I hope that I have been able to convince but not confuse you. But anyways, I hope you were able to pick up something helpful here. If you have a lot going on, if you're doing a lot of things, just take time out, take care of yourself. You're the most important stakeholder in all of these things. If you're not well, nothing you're doing can go out well, can turn out well. So sis, bro, please take care of yourself. You're the most important stakeholder in your life. Bye.